society tells us that there is rising inequality in the UK. What is your opinion on this? Do you think wealth is distributed fairly or not?
That's philosophical as well. Yeah, it's not so much economics. I don't know. I mean, no. So from an economic point of view, you can always say that when wealth is distributed fairly or more equally, then that has positive implications for economic growth. So if we are all not wealthy, but we are all well off, then we will go out and spend and buy cars. If you have an economy where wealth is highly concentrated, then that's not good for growth, because if you have a bunch of people that live in poverty and just one Bill Gates, well, Bill Gates may buy 10 cars, 20 cars, but he's not going to buy any more. So that's not good for the economy, right? Now, whether I think wealth is fairly distributed in the UK, I don't know, but I can see a lot of money in this city. The kind of money that I have never seen before. It's just, you see parts of London that are very wealthy, and you see things that are just mind-blowing, that you say, this shouldn't be it. So, but you also see people struggling. I'm not saying they're very poor. I'm saying many Londoners, I think, they struggle. I don't know if wealth is fairly distributed, but I do know that the differences between the rich and the poor in this country, well, in London, are just like the differences you find sometimes in a developing country, where we tend to think that wealth is unfairly distributed, and I don't like it.
Okay, year 11, can I have your attention, please? Angela, thank you. Alameen, thank you. Quickly do the register, see who's here. Thank you, Alina. Imran? Yeah. Sadia? Yeah. Usman? Yeah.
Jiha, Shapla? Yeah. Rachel, come sit here.
Sufyan? Tasfia? Yeah. Taiba?
Yeah. Aisha? Just stand at the back.
Ahmed? Yeah. Alina? Yeah. Amina? Yeah. Faria? Yeah. Mohibo? Yeah. Anissa?
Yeah. Right, can you just take your jackets off? We're just going to be here for about 40 minutes. Take your jackets off. 40? 40.
So do we all remember who we're meeting? And what is he?
He's an economist.
He's an economist.
A hedge fund.
No, he used.
Got something to do with that.
He used to work as a hedge fund. So now he works at the FCA, which is the Financial Conduct Authority. Yeah.
So we start by talking about who he is and what he does, and the research that we've done. And I have prepared the questions. Do you remember a few sessions ago we did some questions for each person, and I sort of picked out the ones that I think apply to him. So he worked in Manchester, he worked in finance, Goldman Sachs, he has an art collection from emerging nations, he does a lot of charity work, and he's chair of patrons of the Royal Academy. Who looked at Goldman Sachs?
The Financial Conduct Authority is a financial regulator. So it basically gives rules to banks and investment banks and firms in the finance industry. That's kind of the main thing. And then he used to work as a hedge fund analyst, so he's had experience working with billionaires and super wealth.
He's helped people know what to do with their billions of pounds. So maybe we'll talk a bit about that. He's retired. Does anyone know how old he is? He's retired. Yeah, quite early.
So anyway, when we get there, we're going to have to go through security, and we're not allowed to take any pictures or do any filming at all when we're in the building. So if any of you have phones on you, I don't know if you can't take any pictures. Then when we get into the room, we're going to we've been allowed to record the audio of your interview with him.
So we can't record his conversation. He doesn't want us to. He feels like he can't be as candid if we record him.
When you say your questions, how do we project our questions? Loud, clear and slowly. Do not read fast.
Can you tell us about your education? Was it private or public? Did you worry about getting bad grades?
Why do you choose to spend your money on art?
Do you think society is fair?
What would you do if you were at the bottom of the social ladder?
When you worked for a hedge fund where you're responsible for large amounts of money, what does that feel like? Was it stressful or exciting?
Right.
Why does the finance industry need to be regulated, and does it work? In recent times, do you think the banks and finance industry have been characterized fairly or unfairly in the media?
Great.
How do wealthy people invest their money? Can you describe the process and how investing money makes more money? And how do the super rich affect the economy?
How do the super rich affect the economy? I see no problem if you're wealthy. I see no problem if you have made your fortune and are super wealthy. I think actually that's good, because if you live in a place that allows you to dream and to build your wealth, I think that you are very lucky. And I have traveled a lot, and I have lived in several countries, and I can say that in a way you guys are fortunate, because this country provides those tools. Yes, sometimes it's difficult to access them. Yes, sometimes but it is good. It's not bad. Okay?
Alright guys, so let's not make a move. We can line up outside the class.
And don't put your jackets on, just stand.
Yeah, we're not getting in our twos, are we? I can't see twos here.
What's mine was rough now. What's my Richard?
I like to see a lot of nice cars.
I'm here to eat it.
Lamborghinis and Porsches, a lot of cars, because I like cars, innit?
And do you want to have one of those cars?
Yes. I'm gonna live in Mayfair when I'm older. I'll get rich enough. I'm gonna ask the guy for tips.
You've been to Mayfair before?
No. I've never been. I've only been to East and North London.
Can you say that again?
In your experience, what are wealthy people's attitudes towards money?
It really depends of what kind of wealthy people you're talking about. Because if you have people that have always been wealthy, their relationship to money is different from people who have just built their wealth, right? For a number of reasons.
Did he start from nothing, or because there's some people that just make it, or was he born with that social class, born in that class he is in now? Yeah.
And would you prefer it if he answered one way or the other?
What do you mean?
About whether he was born into money or whether he's made his money?
Well, I would prefer that if he made it, because I wouldn't mind either way. But it would just give me a perspective of me that I can do it as well.
Now this is my question to him. I'm gonna be like, if you're a true millionaire, you give me £50 right now. If you can't, then he's not a millionaire.
But I think that people who have had money for a long time do not show it off that much. I don't feel great saying that, because that's saying, that's generalizing, and you can't. You simply can't. How you deal with money, you learn at home. That's as simple as it is. How you deal with money, you learn from your parents. This is my view. The way I deal with money is it's very influenced by the way I saw my parents dealing with money.
As far as which I wouldn't give my money to someone I don't know.
No,
obviously I'll give it to charities and that, but I wouldn't just give it to some random person, like, who's also looked up for, and ask give it to them for no reason unless they really need it.
No, I didn't mean it like that way. I just said
that's what you meant, brother.
It was a joke, man.
You said if he was a true millionaire, he would give you £50 on the spot.
Right, we're getting off at West Ham to change the Jubilee line, okay? Alright?
What do you mean, bro? My man tapped his he had £4.50 on it already.
Oh, that's right.
How do wealthy people invest their money, and can you describe the process and how investing money makes more money?
Of course, of course. So one thing I have to say is that making money is not easy. Making money is difficult. It's very difficult. But I have seen clients. Doing it. And again, if you're super wealthy, what most people do is to set up a family office. And so this is a company that has all your assets and that manages all these assets. Suppose you have 10 billion pounds, and so you hire 50 people to manage 10 billion pounds. And so you can do it by investing in infrastructure. You can do it by investing in the market, in hedge funds. You can do whatever you want with that money. So that's how ultra wealthy people manage their money.
Do you think that the economy is being run fairly?
You see, that's the problem. We don't run the economy. The economy is just a set of things that happen, you know. And we try to influence the economy, but it's very difficult. So, as an economist, we're trying to think of an economy where things flow with no trouble. The problem is that in the real world, we have a lot of frictions. So the way I see financial regulation is to remove those frictions, to find out what's not allowing the free movement of capital. Now, having said that, some regulation can be bad, can have unintended consequences. And so we think, okay, we're going to get rid of a problem. Is that going to create other problems?
I expected him to be a bit more formal and be more, not as like, he related to us quite a lot and he was being quite really personal and honest with us. And the fact that he sat down with us instead of standing up and looking down at us showed that he wanted to speak to us and get to know us rather than just tell us about his job and get over and done with.
Did that change your view walking around Canary Wharf and your expectations of the people who work there or live there?
It didn't really change my viewpoint because
it was like one out of 100 people.
I still feel that not everybody is as genuine as he is. Like,
because at the start he said he's going to speak to us on a personal level. If you went around Canary Wharf, not many people would say that.
Yeah.
They'd speak from their position, not who they are.
How do you feel about a capitalist society?
I feel great. I feel great. This is what I'm saying. I think that, you know, the movement of capital, I think capitalistic society has many flaws, right? But I think that the option to that is worse. So in a way, we're living with the best of two evils. But I think it's great. And why I think it's great is because of the way I was trained as an economist. Yeah. So I have bought into it. What you need to realize that in this country, you have a good welfare system. So you have a backstop, right? We allow people to live in this capitalistic society to create wealth as they wish. But on top of that, we say, fine, if that's the way you want it, we'll have a backstop for people who are not participating in that, you know.
Ask Alamin.
Oh yeah, Alamin.
Alamin knows. Alamin had a lot to say inside. I think we should ask Alamin.
How would you describe the building we were in?
The building is really good.
Put it away.
Is it luxurious?
Basically, they're like rich people because they got people delivering water to them. Because I can't afford that. My dad can't get a servant to give water to my room. I have to go downstairs and get it myself. It's mad. And plus they have bottled water. But with me at home, I don't have bottled water. I have tap water. So bottled water costs £1 each, and I can't afford that like every day.
So you were impressed?
I was jealous. Not impressed, I was jealous. But obviously, for my area, I'm rich, so it's alright.
Well, maybe I can ask you a question. What did you think about him saying that he wasn't rich?
I just found him, I don't know. I just hate people that are rich but don't call them rich. It's like saying a person that is really handsome says they're ugly, and that really makes me angry.
How much would someone in your position usually earn?
In my position, the starting salary is, I think, then be around £35,000 a month. Oh, I hope a year. And then, so you start. So you start as an associate. And £35,000 a month for some people would not be enough. I remember when I was a PhD student, I was teaching this guy who was a Saudi prince, and I was his tutor. I was helping him because he was going to school here, and so we had, the lessons were in Harrods, or in his place, and his place was just in front of Harrods. And this is 10 years ago. And I remember once I saw a paper, and it was the rent, and it was £15,000 a month. It was £15,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. This is what I say, that sometimes here you see things that you can simply not comprehend.
Oh, that's so peng.
I just get the impression that he's going to be like sort of stuck up. I don't know why. So I've never met a millionaire in my life, so I don't know what to expect. I've never met anyone that rich. Obviously, I'm not going to expect him to be dressed like casual. He's going to be wearing a suit. You can see him in the front. He's going to be posh, nicely dressed, smart. And yeah, I don't expect him to be anything like us.
So what did you learn? Rahima?
What
From
did
these
I
tips?
learn?
Yeah.
He did not meet my stereotype of a rich person. He's very normal and earthy. Yeah, and very cool too. Yeah, very cool. And he didn't he didn't inherit his wealth. He worked his way to his position. Yeah, the chief status.
Do you feel like you have more respect for him for that? Yeah. He wasn't arrogant. No. He was nice, and really open. And do you feel like you learnt about his life and him and?
If you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
So what does that mean? What does that mean?
It's like if you take risks, you have to stick with them.
And he said, work hard.
What about? Let's just talk about this thing about class again. Like he actually said, "Oh, I don't think it's a useful thing to talk about," didn't you? And quite a few of our questions were about it. Do you think that's okay to just say, I'm outside of class and I'm not part of it?
He said you need to transcend that.
We need to transcend it. Do you think class exists?
I think it does exist.
Class system exists.
Exists, but it's changing.
Do you think he found making money rewarding?
Yeah, because that's what he's good at.
That's what he's good at, yeah, so he's chosen it because
He's good.
Because we don't have any video of him. What was he like? What did he look like?
Well groomed.
The picture, like he looked like an upper class person, very snobbish.
But in real life, he was
Humble and really nice.
we didn't. Somebody there was a couple of questions.
Right, do you know what I'm finding is very rude when Ruth is trying to do something with you as a group and you've got people chit-chatting away. Very disrespectful, very rude.
What do you think about that thing about not having people not having any photos of themselves in the press and stuff? Would you do that?
No, I'm just but like.
Then you're not separated from the rest of society.
They probably are separated from the rest of society.
There's a difference between being rich and famous. So like he's not famous, like he's not known because I only found out about him today. But he's rich, and then people who are famous, they're always on the camera because that's how they got their money. So they need to be on camera. But he doesn't need to be on camera because he got his money off camera.
What did he say about this question about being at the bottom of the social ladder? And did you think it was satisfactory?
No, because he said if he was, he would work his way out of being at the bottom. So he obviously doesn't like the idea of not having money. He likes having money. Yeah, he does. He likes having money.
Has he ever been at so if his parents had 2 pharmacies and his mum was a teacher and he got sent to private school, would you say has he ever been completely at the bottom, or where would you?
He's always had some sort of status that was ascribed to.
And how do you perceive his status? Because he wouldn't say what class. That's why I was asking before. He moved around that subject. How do you see his status, or what do you think?
He doesn't have status. He doesn't think of himself as status.
That's what he thinks. What do you think?
I think that he was never bottom class, lower class, but he was in the middle, but now he's really rich. But I don't think class is important in that case because he's worked for his own with a bit of support when he was a child. So still, I don't think he's in social. I don't know where to put him still.
Mickey Mouse
Even when we asked him, where would you place yourself on the class system?
Yeah, he was hesitant.
Yeah, he was. He said, I wouldn't identify myself with the class.
If he told us, it would have been as if he'd just he'd been given everything on a plate, but at the same time he was telling us you've got to work hard.
He's a different type of guy than I imagined he would be because he's very open, kind. I know they have a accent and he didn't show a certain attitude towards us because other people think they're higher than us, but he could relate to us, stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you think it would be different if you met him here, for instance?
Where? I mean here in the shop. I don't think I would have noticed him because everyone here looks the same. She's taking a video of the snow. Sick.
He felt like it was a kind of duty to to give back, because if you're in the position where you can help the rest of society, then you should. Yeah. Because he just kind of saw it as a moral due, it's something you should do, so it shouldn't be really questioned.
It was interesting. It was because he's probably the richest man I've met and probably will meet. So it was nice to see that he's not your average rich.
But then we've never met a stereotypical rich person.
He was saying that he was lucky, it was all his hard work and luck. So yeah, that's what he got to a private school, so it's not really that much luck. But yeah, he got rejected and still gone. He got rejected so many times, but still didn't lose. He still did try hard.
Yeah, but the shops like in Mayfair, along the arcade, they were mainly jewelers, and they had
really expensive.
And but the thing is that everyone it's like a big Westfield for rich people.
Yeah.
And we looked at stuff like the architecture, how it's different, and transport, and the contrast between here and like East Ham, Manor Park. Every single building here is really nice and like well designed, and they're really clean as well. But that's like a different story in Manor Park.
I feel that people are more friendly in Manor Park. I don't feel comfortable in this area. I feel more comfortable in Manor Park.
Yeah, I feel it's different. Like everything's different to here. But even though like it's not that far away, but it's like a huge contrast to everything in this area. Completely different to Manor Park.
And how do you think someone from this area would fare in Manor Park?
You probably think that don't the people care about the environment, and they'll think that this place doesn't have enough money to build their environment.
How does this area make you feel?
Poor. Yeah, it is uncomfortable being here. It just don't feel right.
Sorry, we don't have to go, I just can't film the shop. How do you feel uncomfortable, in what way?
Because the majority of people here we're ethnic minorities, like all of us. So we don't fit in with the crowd. You do get a couple of dirty looks here and there.
So you're aware of being part of an ethnic minority. Do you think that has a relationship with class?
Yeah, because all of us, at one point, our parents or grandparents aren't from here. So when you come to a new society, majority of them came in the 50s, and they were given like manual labour jobs and things. So you can't really be a part of the upper class unless you work for it in our case, because you've not got a heritage here. You ain't got like a foothold in this country.
The distribution of wealth may not be fair. The distribution of luck may not be fair. And the distribution of skill may not be fair. Right? So you do find a very small bunch of people in finance that make a lot of money. A lot of money. But you need to be lucky, you need to be skilled, you need to have experience, you need to know people. But making money is difficult.
How did you guys do it? You are saying no gun right now.
Boys, come on. You've been really nice all day.